Hi everyone, thanks for clicking the video. I appreciate you guys coming back to see another ab workout. So this one's just a 5-minute routine. It sounds really simple and really short for an ab workout, but trust me, I chose these movements very specifically because they target every single part of your abs possible. And if you guys go over to Dylan's channel, he's going to post the video too. And you'll see, and he'll tell you too, the day after his abs were super sore. He didn't think they would be because it was only, you know, a couple of movements, but it just goes to show, choose the correct movements and do them, you know, with the correct intention, and they'll slay no matter what. So try and follow along with this video if you can. The audio ended up sucking on my camera, so I voice-overed for the entire video, and it actually gave me a good chance to walk you guys through some specific cues for the movements too. If my accent doesn't make sense, or if I'm talking too quickly in the video, please let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to break down some of the movements a little more for you. So each movement was 30 seconds long with no rest in between, so we just went from one right to the other. Since it was only 5 minutes long, we just kept moving for the entire duration of the workout. We split it up into 2 different sections. The first one's all plank variations, so you'd be on your front, and the second round is all on your back, so some dead bug variations along with some other things. So again, all 30 seconds long, so if you guys set a timer on your phones, you can try and follow along if you want to. But I'll leave some footnotes in the video so you guys know when the next movement's coming up if you try and follow along anyway, okay? I hope you guys enjoy it, and again, let me know, give me some feedback in the comments. I'm always open to feedback. I love it, and I love to see what you guys like to see, okay? And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, so we started the workout off nice and easy with a high plank position. So our next move was a plank up down. My top cues for you guys here are to keep the hips nice and still, or as still as you can. It's going to be pretty hard to keep them completely stiff, but just do your very best. Another great cue for you guys is to come back up on the same arm that you go down on. This will just enforce that feeling of stability and anti-rotation. Movement 3, we're keeping it simple again and going into a low plank position. I cue this one pretty much the same as the high plank. Just keep your pelvis under control and keep the core nice and tight. Okay, so now the fun begins. Staying in that low plank position, draw the opposite knee towards the opposite elbow. So we're going to add a knee tuck to this low plank position now, making the movement a little more dynamic, and it's going to enforce a little bit more of that rotational stability we've been focusing on for the entire first portion of this workout. Next, we're going to spice up the obliques a little bit with a lateral hip drop. Now your goal here is to try and keep those shoulders as square as possible. And again, staying in that low plank position, make sure you're still driving the elbows down so that you're not relying too heavily on the shoulder blades and the neck to stabilize your upper body. Move slow here. Okay, we're going to make things a little more rotational now, still focusing on those obliques. You're going to stay in that low plank position. You're going to open up one side of your body towards the ceiling and follow that arm with your eyes. This is still attacking those obliques, but it offers us an additional opportunity to work on some shoulder stability in that arm that stays on the ground as you rotate away from the floor. Try and keep moving here if you can, but rest when you need to. You should be feeling a ton of fatigue by now. Okay, now it's time to switch things up. We're going to flip over onto the back into a hollow hold position. This is one of those ab movements that seems really simple, but it's actually deadly. Try and keep the legs as close to the ground as possible and your biceps as close to your ears as possible, and keep your arms in that overhead position. We're going to stick with this theme and move into a bilateral deadbug. The same cues apply. Try and get your feet as close to the ground as possible and get your biceps to bisect your ears and reach as high as you can overhead. your best to keep moving here, but rest if you need to, just take a breath and get back into it. Popping back up into a seated position now, we're going to go into what we call a V-sit hold. I want you to think about trying to keep the legs as straight as possible and almost feel like you're contracting the quads and kicking the heels away towards the ceiling. A good cue for your upper body here is to imagine that someone's pulling your sternum towards the ceiling. This will help you to avoid any excessive rounding in the upper back. Okay, back down to the ground now for an alternating dead bug. So this is similar to the first variation of the dead bug that we did with both legs and both arms, except now we're alternating left and right. So you can see again those same rules apply. The leg goes as close to the ground as possible, head stays flat on the floor, and you're reaching that arm overhead as far as possible. And so we'll finish strong with some zombie sit-ups. So you can see here my legs never leave the floor. So that's your goal here too. Try and keep your legs completely flat on the ground. By the end of the movement, you should be in an L-shaped position with your arms stretched out in front of you. Use that same cue we used for the V-sit hold. Imagine someone's pulling you up by your sternum so that you can avoid any rounding in that upper back. It seems simple but harder than it looks, right? I hope you enjoyed it.